I'm Josh Harris or if I'm Dan Quinn too there in Washington, I think you go with a quarterback in the draft. I really do, because America is football. Football is America.
Football is America. And if you don't like it, you can kiss your candy ass all the moment in time. I don't give a damn. Oh my God.
No.
You love this.
30-27. Chiefs win. Chiefs win 30-20. I still think too, it's like if you draft a quarterback, you've got a little bit more hope for the future, though, don't you think? Like, yes, you can go with Howell this year, and like Nick said, if he sucks, cool, you get a top 5 pick because your team is going to be pretty dog shit, really. When you look at like a team like the Carolina Panthers, they were when they got Bryce Young and they traded for that first overall pick last year, they were a pretty dog shit team. That's probably going to be Washington. You're right, but wouldn't you want to start off with a rookie quarterback that is supposed to be one of the, can't miss quarterbacks of this draft? Or would you want to gamble on Howell not being good and having to draft next year for a top 5 pick while also not necessarily knowing, as nobody knows what these quarterbacks, Caleb Williams, Drake Mays, are going to be, but they're saying you can hit on one of these guys, right? Like it's almost like guaranteed success in a sense. Again, nobody knows, but wouldn't you be much more confident in trying to hit on a guy this draft than waiting an entire year, seeing how the team does, if it improves? And even if you do play yourself out of a top 5 spot, what do we do now? You know what I mean? Like, do we go with Howell?
I'm going to answer that. I'm going to answer it with a no, unfortunately, because that was a very compelling argument. But hear me out, okay?
Yeah.
If you draft the right guy, but the team doesn't have the right players, it's not going to work out. I mean, there's a reason that some teams just can't figure it out, and other teams that draft the quarterback to a team that's ready to compete have different success. Like, do I think Jared Goff would have had as much success had he been on the Panthers? Probably not. I mean, look what happened to Baker. This is a prime example. Baker goes to the Panthers. The team is dog shit. The coaches are dog shit. So they have to send him to the Rams, where great team, good coaching. Oh, he looked good. Good enough for him to get an opportunity to be a starter, and he won playoff game and almost took his team to an NFC championship game. That is essentially my whole argument, is that Bryce Young was the best quarterback, apparently. You know how I feel about it, and it's only a matter of time. That will not work out. But they decided to trade all their assets to get the quarterback, and I actually think it's the other way around. You have to prepare yourself. It's like if I'm gonna get ready to let's say a single person, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna get married, but then once I get married, I'm gonna grow up. I'm gonna stop going to the bars. I'm gonna stop dicking off. It's like, no. You have to change yourself and then get married. And I feel like a lot of teams, they have it backwards, where they're like, if we have the right quarterback, he'll make up for the shitty team. I lean more on the side of, let's get those assets. Let's get this team ready. So then when we bring in the right guy, we don't waste them. Because, I mean, look at the Broncos and Bears track history of drafting quarterbacks. And I just don't think it's a coincidence that some teams have so much more success than others. I mean, the Steelers were a solid team. Who knows what Kenny Pickett would have looked like on the Panthers? At least the Steelers were able to keep his nose above water. Mac Jones, good coaching, an okay team, goes to the Pro Bowl. The next year we kind of saw who he really is. So I like, what do you see my side a little bit? Like, you have to prepare, you got to prepare the meal and then invite company. Like, there's something that's got to go down like that, I think.
But kind of how Nick's saying, the ownership is absolutely horrible on the Panthers side. And I think with like the foundation
Yes,
being
that's the word I've been
set.
trying to say.
Yeah, the foundation is definitely one thing that you have to kind of look at and be like, is that a good enough foundation? Is that a good enough start for a guy coming out of college? Because you and I say it all the time, man. These college kids, they're coming out NFL ready. And you see it in a lot of these players. You saw it in CJ Stroud. You saw it in Devin Witherspoon. You saw it in Darnell Wright for the Bears, right? You
Patrick
saw it in
Surtain.
Surtain. Surtain is a great example too. Like all these guys are pretty ready. So I think also it's like you got to look at, you mentioned the Bears drafting quarterbacks. Like we are horrendous at it, but it's like our ownership has been the same for 100 years. Our GMs like flip flop. They overlap quarterbacks and coordinators and coaches and GMs and presidents and whatnot. So it's like, what type of organization are you if you can't get a really good base or a good foundation, like we were saying, because you are already kind of starting off on the bad foot with a rookie quarterback. So I think it is like, I totally get your side. Got to make the meal before you invite company over. Totally get that. But I also think like brand new ownership who started off correctly. Ownership hired the president, CEO, hired the GM, hiring the coach who is going to create the team and the culture and bringing in his own squad and doing that. I think that's kind of like a good way to start off a relationship with a brand new quarterback. Is like, hey, this is all kind of brand new. And guess what? We're starting this, in a sense, we're starting this entire franchise over. So like it could be bad and it could be good, but I still think like if I'm Josh Harris or if I'm Dan Quinn too there in Washington, I think you go with a quarterback in the draft. I really do, because I totally get where you're coming from and where Nick's coming from as well, where, hey, fuck it, throw him out there. Why not? Let's see what happens. Maybe because of money too that's owed to him. He's on a rookie contract, I'm assuming. You got a ton of other guys as well that are going to be looking for money here soon. I think Terry McLaurin already got paid. So there are probably a lot of other things that I'm not really like going into the weeds for. Just for me, I think is like this is a great opportunity to start with a fresh slate, like just across the board.
Yeah, and I think another thing to keep in mind that kind of goes against everything that I've said up to this point is that Dan Quinn took this job knowing that the state of the franchise is kind of going through a rebirth. This is not an attractive job the way the Chargers was for Harbaugh or even Seattle. This is a totally different situation, and maybe the only reason he took it was because of the number 2 pick. So that might be, if that's one of the reasons he took the job, then of course they're going to use it to draft a quarterback. But I think what a lot of people are expecting is that he will draft a quarterback. But as Nick said, I mean, we've seen both kind of philosophies pay off in different ways.
Yeah.
It just kind of depends on what Dan's philosophy is, and we'll get a look at it in a little bit.